Hey y'all, Josh here today, aka the world's greatest dad. And as somebody who's kind of a water timer connoisseur, it's always a good day when we got some new equipment to test out. What you're looking at here is the Eden Digital Water Timer. And today we're going to put this bad boy through a field test and demo, tell you everything you need to know about it, and see if it's worthy of the coveted world's greatest dad thumbs up. So with that being said, let's get it. So first off, let's go ahead and take a little closer look at the unit itself. Now this is the 4-zone option, but they also offer this in a 2-zone as well as a single zone as well. Now when it comes to construction of this thing, as you can see, it's mostly made up of plastic, but it does have this nice brass inlet right there. And I also appreciate this extra grippy ring to make it super easy to put this thing on and off your faucet. Now on top of that, they're also throwing in this nice stainless steel rubber gasket there to help keep all the little goobers and things out of your timer. Now to get to the power center on this thing, it's simply located right here in the back, and it's going to run off 4 AA batteries. Now one thing I want to point out about this is it has this nice rubber gasket right there at the top, so that's going to help keep any moisture out of your battery compartment. So let's go ahead and pop these batteries in and see what we're working with. So before we program this thing and test it out, let's go ahead and chat about some of the features and why we picked this up. Obviously, this has 4 different zones that you can program, but on top of that, each zone also has the ability to program in 4 different watering cycles. So basically out of zone 1 right here, I could program that to run up to 4 times daily, and I can do that in each different zone. Now on top of that, this also has a manual on-off feature, so you can always get water when you need it, and you won't mess with your watering cycle. Now they also have a rain delay feature, which will postpone your watering anywhere from 1 hour up to 7 days. And the final nice feature of this is that it also is compatible with the Eden wireless moisture sensor, which basically is an additional product that will prevent this thing from watering if your ground is already saturated. So let's go ahead and step inside the world's greatest dad's lab and show you how to program this thing. So first off, let's go ahead and take a little closer look at the instruction book. Not a lot to it. Basically, you've got 3 pages, but it does take you step by step from setting your time, installing your batteries, to programming every feature that this has to offer. And it also gives you some information on storing and troubleshooting and cleaning as well. So let's go ahead and program this, but before we do, I just want to point out that basically you're going to work your way around the world using this little triangle right there, and that triangle is going to correspond with this triangle button right here. So by default, we are at set time, which we need to do first, and we'll have to pick the day of the week that it is, as well as the time that it is right now too. If we take a look at our watch, you'll see it is Wednesday at 3:57 p.m. So we'll go ahead and move this over to select Wednesday, hit enter, and now we will go ahead and move our timer all the way up to 3:57 p.m. There we go, 3:57 p.m., hit OK, and now we have set our time to be accurate. So let's go ahead and program zone 1 over here, and to do that, we're simply going to hit our triangle button to move up to water day. As you'll see, zone 1 is highlighted right there, and here we can basically pick what days of the week we want to water. So if we wanted to water every single day of the week, we would hit OK for Sunday, OK for Monday, and all the way down the line, highlighting every single one. All right, after we are done with that, we hit this triangle button again, and now we are going to set our start water time. So if I wanted to water every morning at 3 a.m., I would again adjust this over here to 3 o'clock. And then I'm going to hit my triangle again to move on to how long. And I want to water for 10 minutes. Hit triangle again. And we are not using our sensor here. And now we're over at auto. So basically with this, we've just set up zone 1 to water every day of the week at 3 a.m. for 10 minutes. Now, if I wanted to water more than 1 time a day in zone 1, I could go ahead and add additional cycles up here. And basically when I'm on the start water right there, all I'm going to do is hit the cycle button, and now I've advanced to B, C, and D. As you can see right now, A is set up to water at 3 a.m., B is off, C is off, and D is off. Let's say we wanted to go ahead and water in the evening though for B. So then what I'm gonna do is select B. Now let's go backwards, and we're gonna set this to water at 9 p.m. Go ahead and move on for how long, and we'll do 10 minutes then as well. Advance on, and now basically we've set up zone 1 to water twice a day, once at 3 a.m. and once at 9 p.m. for 10 minutes each. Now to program for zone 2, 3, and 4, all I'm simply going to do is move up to water day, and then to adjust my zone, I hit the zone button, and now you'll see that we have moved to zone 2, 3, and 4. And basically for each one of these zones, I'm going to go through the process and set up another one. And to use your manual function, basically you just hit this button right here, select how long you want it to run, hit OK, and now this would turn on in zone 1 for 5 minutes. If you change your mind, you want to shut that thing off, just hit the off button and it'll shut off. And of course, using this manual function does not mess with any of your time settings. And the last feature you should know about is the rain delay function. And basically you just need to make sure that you're set up in your auto over here. And then you're going to hold down this plus button for about 3 to 5 seconds. And that's going to open up this delay. Now you can delay anywhere from 1 to 24 hours. And then all the way up to 7 days. Simply hit OK to set it, and if you change your mind, you can simply go back down to 0, and now we've taken our rain delay off. So now that you know the basics of how to operate this thing, let's go ahead and get it attached to our faucet and run some tests. And I do want to point out that this thing attaches very nicely thanks to this grip ring on the brass inlet. So let's go ahead and turn the water on, make sure we don't have any leaks. One thing I'd like to point out, they even have a sticker on top that tells you, make sure you open the faucet kind of slow and not just open it up full bore right at the beginning. All right, our water is on. Everything looking good so far. So first off, let's go ahead and test the manual function on this. If we hit the manual on button, then you'll simply select the zone that you want the water to come out of. Let's go zone 2, choose your time, and we set it for 1 minute. Water comes on. Now I have the water turned way down here, just because I don't want to fill up my bucket too much. We'll let this thing run for 1 minute and watch it shut off. And there you go. So the next thing we're going to test is to make sure the zones turn on and off properly. So basically, it's about 4:30 right now. I've programmed each of the zones to run for 1 minute, starting at 4:35. So zone 1 is going to start at 4:35 to 4:36. Zone 2 is going to run from 4:36 to 4:37. Zone 3, 4:37 to 4:38. And Zone 4, 4:38 to 4:39. Let's check it out. And it's 4:35. Zone 1 just turned on. It's going to run for a minute. Zone 1 just finished up. And Zone 2 kicked in. Now for Zone 3. And finally Zone 4. There we go. 4:39, 4 minutes, 4 zones, 1 minute each. So next, let's go ahead and test out the cycle function where you can water multiple times in each zone. And basically we programmed Zone 2 to run for a minute starting at 5 o'clock, then it's going to shut off for a minute, and then it's going to start back up at 5:02. And before we get running, let's go ahead and show you how this is programmed. For zone 2 there, you've got cycle A at 5 o'clock, cycle B at 5:02. Each of them running for 1 minute. And we're all set up, so 4:59, as soon as that turns, should kick on. There we go, 5 o'clock. 5:01 shuts off. And kicks back on at 5:02. And we're off. So as you can see from the results of our tests, both the zones and the cycles work properly. That means I can feel confident about using this in my garden. Now, a couple other things you should know about this. Number one, make sure you clean out your filter screen often. And if one gets too gunked up or you have issues with it, the company also provides you with 2 extras as well. Now, another thing you should know is that you should use regular AA batteries in this and not rechargeable ones. And you should also remove the batteries when you store this thing in the off season. Now, on top of that, if you do end up having any issues with this, Eden does provide a 3-year limited warranty as well. So there you go. That's pretty much everything you need to know about the Eden Digital Water Timer. Now, while I can't speak for the longevity of this thing, as we just picked it up, it did pass all the tests working correctly. No leaks, no squeaks, and I also know that the company offers a 3-year limited warranty, so if I do have some issues, I know I'm going to be covered. So for those reasons and more, I'm going to give this thing a world's greatest dad thumbs up, and I say, go out and get you one.